I am so upset and heartbroken right now. For a while my wife and I had been planning to have kids. We have been married a little over 5 years. Since we knew we were getting married, we had decided that we would wait at least 5 years before we had a child. Well, the time came and we wanted to go ahead and try to have one. For months and months we had tried with no success. We finally decided to go to a specialist to get their opinions and advice on what to do to help our chances. Well, we got some bad news there. We figured out that I was infertile and would not be able to produce a child. We were devastated. A few weeks later we decided to break the news to our families. Both sets of parents had been on us and wanting us to have kids so that they could have grandchildren. We told the news to my parents. They supported us and understood our pain. They pointed out the positives such as adoption and things like that, but told us to take some time to heal. Overall it went really well with them. Then came telling her parents. I don't want to make mine sound far superior, but I've never really gotten along well with her parents. We don't really see eye to eye on a lot of things. After breaking the news to them, they were silent for a minute. Mill didn't look sad but instead looked angry. She said some stuff under her breath that sounded to be insults. I finally spoke up to try to lighten the mood and talked about possibly adopting. She finally said, I don't want no fake child. I want a blood child. Y'all better not do that crap. I was silent the rest of the time really. My wife said a few things and we left shortly after. That night I heard my wife talking on the phone to her mom. I don't think she knew that I could hear the whole conversation. She didn't have her on speakerphone but I could still hear her pretty clearly. I heard her mom tell her that she needed to divorce me because I couldn't even be a man and reproduce properly. There was other stuff that was said but I started breaking down after that. I cried a lot. My wife heard me and came to hug me. I told her that I felt like a terrible person and that I couldn't do anything right. The next day I decided to call her mom. I wanted to try to do something to smooth over our relationship. I apologized for our disagreements and asked her if we could put stuff behind us because I wanted her support and I wanted to move forward. She said that she could never support a son-in-law that can't give her grandchildren. She said that she wished that my wife had made a better choice. I was so upset. I couldn't help it but I started yelling and telling her that I feel like I'm a great husband and that if she wants to be this ugly that she can get out of our life. I was so heated that I did call her a few names as well. She hung up the phone before I was done. Later that day she called and talked to my wife. After that my wife spoke to me and asked me why I did that. I tried to explain that I had called to improve things between us but she instead wanted to criticize me. I told her that I got angry and did indeed call her names and stuff. My wife admitted that she was of course upset with her mom, but that she still wants her in her life. She said that she didn't like that I called her mother names. She told me that she does feel bad for me and upset with everything, but that I was out of line for talking to her mother like that. She left and has went to stay with her brother while she tried to figure out how to sort things out between her mother and I. I didn't mean to cause even more of a conflict. What should I do? Should I apologize to everyone? What should I say to my wife? Is her leaving to go to her brother's a bad sign? I don't want to lose my wife or cause any more trouble between the family. TLDR, my Mill told my wife to divorce me because I can't have children and that makes me not man enough. A little backstory. I'm married wife and I don't want kids and every member of my family knows I don't want kids and they are okay with it. I have a fairly big family just on my side. Bio parents got divorced and remarried so with step family it get pretty big, then I add in-laws and it only get bigger. My wife cannot have kids due to medical reasons. Doctor says if she has one it'll cause her to lose her life and the baby, so naturally she doesn't want any, and her parents know of this condition. In-laws are also religious. So I've told my family countless times I don't want kids. At first they were predictable and would say, oh you're young, you'll change your mind, or kids are the best thing ever, etc. But after my older sister had 2 of her own they have accepted my dissension and left me be. Fast forward to getting married, Phil and Mill would always ask when are you guy going to have your first baby, and it would surprise me every time they asked cause they knew that she can't have kids, so being the boyfriend I would say don't know yet or not anytime soon. Fast forward to last week. I took a week of so wife and I could go see them for vacation and I told my wife the first thing they ask us over dinner is when are we having kids. So I told my wife to put her down gently or I would do it and it wouldn't be pretty. So wife agrees and sure enough Mill asks when are we planning to have our first, but not while we are having dinner in the car on the way to their house, and I responded you already have one, she's 10 months old, 76 pounds and has 4 legs, and covered in fur. Mill is not pleased with my answer and pulled out the biblical response, "It is our duty to replenish the earth," or something like that, but nothing was said over dinner. So next day all day she is making small comments about how we will have cute kids, how awesome they'll be as grandparents. I told my wife if Mill kept this up we were leaving tomorrow the 30th. So wife talks to her, but this only makes it worse. Mill no gets other family members including little kids to play with us and ask us when are we going to have a baby. She used little kids to do her dirty work. Which annoyed me off the most, so we all agreed to see a movie that night, but before the movie Phil and I went long distance target shooting. He asked me if I wanted kids and I said no, and he asked why and I explained and he was accepting of my reasoning. Planet is overpopulated, Murcia is going to crap, not the best time to have a kid, it's cost $40K just to have it, and $250-300K to raise it till the age of 18, so we hitch a ride to the movie theater with in-laws. Big mistake, so Mill has us alone, so she goes off on a rant how I'll be a fantastic parent and saying I don't know what I'm talking about when I say how much money it costs, etc., etc. When she done I'm about to jump out of the car on the highway, or strangle her because of the things she said. So we pull into a parking spot and I'm out of the car before it's in park and I hear Mill asks what my problem. I hear my wife about to explain again how we don't want kids, so I think to myself this woman has had enough chances/warnings to take the hint. So I turn around and walk towards her and in the process tell my wife to hush. I get about a foot away and I tell her, "Do you want to know what my problem is?" She says yes. So I strap up and proceed to tell her this: my problem is you. My mother-in-law refuses to accept the fact that your daughter cannot physically have kids and you refuse to acknowledge that, and the fact I have told you 1,000 times that I do not want them. Never have and never will. At this point her brother and his wife and 5 kids are watching me yell at her in the parking lot. She tries to interrupt me and I tell her to shut up and listen. I do not care what you want, it is not your choice, never has been, never will be, so you need to stop with all your little tactics to try to change my mind. I'm sick and tired of it, and I don't care what your religion says, you need to ducking stop. I tell the same reasons as I told her husband. Then my wife tell me to stop, which I did, and I her if she ever brought up us having kids we will never visit again. I felt bad for yelling, but she deserved it. It's been 5 years of non-stop nagging. She didn't speak to me for another 2 days, only to say goodbye when we left for good. TLDR, Mill cannot comprehend that I do not want kids or that her daughter cannot have kids, so on a vacation to see them I tell her duck off and leave us alone. Background info: my husband and I have been married for 3 years now. I'm 26 and he's 31 and we've been living comfortably and enjoying our child-free life for the past few years. I got along with his mother until now. For as long as we've been married, she has been pressuring us for grandchildren, but at the same time she says it's your own choice like a mantra. At the same time, she has been buying toys, books and clothes and even furniture for her future grandkids and keeping them at her house. We are not even trying to get pregnant and I think this is quite extreme. I understand that she's getting old, she's 65 and both her daughters are child-free, extremely, and she says that my husband and I are her only hope. I have been soft with her about this, saying that we're just not ready yet, maybe in the future. I'm not 100% against breeding, just not now please. So last weekend, at a family dinner at a restaurant, she dropped a hint about grandchildren again, and my husband flat out said we don't want kids, and she started crying. It was so dramatic and embarrassing, and on the way home she was also crying in the car, saying that she always thought she would have grandchildren and it was a shock coming from her son's mouth. Now, I'm not the evil person denying her grandchildren. My husband has always been on the same page as me about this. We are both very focused on our careers at the moment, and having children just because we can afford is not enough reason to have children yet. I haven't spoken to my mother-in-law since last weekend, but I did tell her that she can get used to the idea that she won't have grandchildren anytime soon. The reason being we are just not ready yet, that we might even consider not having children at all. I really liked my mother-in-law until now. She and I really enjoy doing things together and we can talk for hours about everything, but this has really gotten in the way of our relationship. I feel bittersweet about this. Over the weekend, my husband said that she has destroyed or gotten rid of all the stuff she has been collecting for her future grandchildren. I feel like she brought this upon herself. Is this my fault in any way? Her reasons for pressuring me so much is because me and my husband said that we wanted kids 3 years ago and she held on to that without considering the fact that we might change our minds. She promised that she won't pressure me again because she had no idea that she was. I told her that I didn't think she was being serious all those times she was dropping annoying hints, because it always ended with "it's your choice," making me think I had a choice if I wanted to change my mind. I also told her that she had fantasized so much about having grandchildren and never thought about me as a mother for a second, which I'm not ready for at all. That didn't stop her from saying, "Remember when you didn't like cats? And when you had one you loved it so much?" She was sneering when she said this. It's different when it's your own, it's a love you can't even imagine. In 10 or 15 years, if you decide to have kids, maybe I'm not alive then. I hope I'm not. I don't know why she added that. Remember Aunt X? She doesn't regret not having children, but she really regrets not having grandchildren. Fortunately, all the stuff that she bought for her imaginary grandchildren were all given to a charity shop, not thrown away. Anyway, I don't think she's 100% stable. What I know is that I like her less after all this, but I do feel sorry for her because she wants to be a grandma so bad. But I'm relieved that I won't be pressured anymore.